Cash One Pawn, Missoula's #1 pawn shop.
You want money? We got money. You need money? We got money. We're cash.
Do yourself a favor and make Cash One Pawn part of your online shopping habits. Cash One Pawn has an awesome online inventory, everything from firearms to power tools to speaker equipment to jewelry. Visit Cash One Pawn today.
Cash One Pawn.
8720 Roller Coaster Road, CashOnePawn.com.
Is a will you marry me in your future? Or maybe you do it all over again. Hi, I'm Brian Toon with Jewelry Design Center, inviting you to come see the largest selection of Will You Marry Me in the state of Montana. The brightest diamonds of every shape and size, unique settings built to last, and skilled jewelers on site offering free sizing and maintenance for life, because that's how long we want to be your jeweler. Jewelry Design Center in Missoula, on Brooks, across from the Montana Club.
Week's breakdown, SkylineSportsMT.com. It's been a little bit of a back and forth because Montana State opened fall camp way earlier than Montana, so we had nothing but cat coverage on Skyline Sports. Then the Grizz opened, so we've had the last couple of days where we've been really getting caught up with the Grizz. So I want to swing back to the other side and get some insight on the Cats. I got a chance to be there in Bozeman on Media Day and get sort of a vibe of the team going into fall camp, but didn't get to actually see the team on the field. So our next guest, Austin Parr, he is their nonstop local ABC Fox Montana in Bozeman. He's been there at practice every day since Montana State opened fall camp. So he's a guy that has had eyes on him. He's also been checking out some high school football stuff as we are recording here today. Thanks for being on, man. How you doing?
Good. Thanks so much for having me. It's crazy how fast football is it's here. It's back. Football, high school football started this morning. MSU's about only a week left in fall camp. I mean, it's crazy how fast it comes.
Well, I know you saw Bozeman High this morning. How they look?
They got some work to do. I mean, Leshy would tell you the same thing. Losing players, they're trying to build back from that state championship team a couple of years ago. I mean, it's going to be a grind early on in the season, I think, is what he said. But if they can figure things out about the halfway point, he thinks they'll be a very tough out, and they could, make a sneaky little surprise run.
It's so interesting to me how there's no returning quarterbacks in the Big Sky Conference except at Northern Arizona. And there's also no returning quarterbacks in Class AA either. I mean, I guess Glacier has Jackson Presley.
Glacier, yeah, that's about the only one.
And Billings West has CJ Johnson. And then other than that, it's like wide open. Like Bozeman doesn't know who their quarterback's going to be. I mean, I was texting with JP Flynn the other day. I said, hey, who's Galton's quarterback? He goes, you tell me, man. He's like, we don't know. We're trying to figure it out. So I think that actually makes AA pretty wide open this year, though.
I think it's just the same as the Big Sky. There's so much unknown coming into the AA football season this year. A lot of big names exited, right? I mean, Grant was obviously one of the bigger names at Gallatin. A lot of skill type players exiting as well, which is also really weird to transition into that. It is weird seeing number 17 Grant Vegan in a Montana State uniform at practice. Right. That is something that I have not gotten used to yet. You got Cash Embry out there on the field as well, Tommy Springman. It's just an interesting sight to, the guys you cover in high school are now on Montana State. I'm used to Talon Marsh by now because it's been a couple of years, right? But the guys you just got done covering, it was weird to see Grant out there for sure.
What, he's like the tallest quarterback
he's so big
at this point, right?
He looks the part. Let's just put it that way. And of course, his dad has done such a great job at building his resume of developing quarterbacks. And, Grant passes the eye test already of like, hey, this could be the quarterback of the future for Montana State. Not saying he's the quarterback right now at all. He's got a lot of work to do until then, but just based on size and if he can, maybe work on the legs a little bit more, I think he's going to be a solid quarterback for them.
And they posted a family pick this year. I mean, Brett Vegan is no small man. And Grant is first of all, way taller than his dad, but Josh Allen was in the pick too. I mean, Josh Allen goes 6'6", 240, and Grant Vegan was taller than him even as a,
yep.
year-old. I'm like, man, this guy's got a lot of potential for given the frame that he's got. Tell me more about the Cats. What have you seen so far early on? I thought my main impression coming out of Media Day was, I think that you could tell they have a distinctly different personality as a team. And I think part of that stems from leadership, right? Guys like Tommy Millott and Brody Grebe and Marcus Ware, they're sort of like no nonsense, maybe a little quieter, like serious type of guys. They're leaders now. I mean, like Paul Brott's hilarious, man. Like he's talking about the taco truck and all this stuff. Zach Cruz is, he's going around with his missing teeth.
Hasn't fixed a tooth yet.
He doesn't. He just doesn't care. It's just hilarious, man. I don't know. And Taco Dowler is kind of an affable guy. Adam Jones a little bit more like those previous guys, like a little bit more serious. But and Julius Davis is talking up there. He's like the governor of Montana already. I mean, he sounds like a pro politician. It just seems like they're more loose. Have you seen that translate on the practice field?
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that, a lot of people can describe it as is it's almost like it's a new era for Montana State football, right? I mean, the last 4 years, you've had so many incredible players, so many incredible leaders. That obviously starts with number 4 and Tommy Millott, but you had the Brody Greaves, you had the Rylan Orts. I mean, like that's like one of the best leaders they had last year. And talk about somebody who is like very serious and the very stoic leadership. That is Rylan Ort. He's arguably one of the greatest interviewers of all time. But yeah, I just feel like they're more loose, but at the same time, they have a little bit of swagger to them as well, especially that defensive back room. Lots of prove there. There's a lot of youth on the football team too. They don't have a lot of seniors, and this is kind of the first time in a long time where they don't have that senior leadership. They do have leadership, but not necessarily the amount of senior leadership that they had last year. They still got something to prove, though. I think they're, when I say loose, I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean it's just their personalities. It's kind of like the young group of 4 years ago kind of growing up a little bit. But, all the talk, we all know, all the talk has been about how many players they've lost last season, how much talent they lost, how much leadership they lost, whatever. All they want to say every single interview is, yeah, you guys talk about that a lot, but we still got some players here. We have a lot of great football players. The biggest thing with Montana State, and you know this too, is Brent Vigen and his coaching staff always does such a great job to have those guys in the waiting that maybe a fall camp or a spring and a fall camp can develop them into the players that they want. And halfway through the season, all of a sudden, you got a stud that you've never even heard of before. So I think, Montana State's going to be just fine. The Big Sky's wide open. Obviously, there's still a lot of question marks, but the energy at camp is so high. I mean, these guys are getting after it. We had full pads last week. I shouldn't say we, but they had full pads last week, and they wanted to hit each other. They wanted to go out and compete, especially those DBs. I mean, there's so much trash talking going on at practice, and that's what you want. You want that competitive edge, that competitive fire to be like, look, yeah, you guys might not know the name that I have, but I'm going to go out there and and prove myself. So it's been a great fall camp for them. We've been out there every single day in the sun, 3-hour practices. We're showing up, media members, just as much as they are. So we're trying to make sure we're the insiders for this team this year.
Big Sky Breakdown. Speaking of new names, Ryan and Miller proud to announce the addition of a third partner, Abigail Coburn. So Ryan Miller and Coburn Law, the elite law firm in Western Montana. They're experts from everything from DUIs or criminal defense, medical malpractice, and wrongful death. If you want to find out more, you can call their answering service anytime, 406-542-2233, or visit online, rmcattorneys.com. Ryan Miller and Coburn, your Montana attorneys. I think that's an interesting thing you just talked about, too. I think Adam Jones made this comment on Media Day, and then I had an interview with him yesterday. We'll play that for you on Monday. A lot of you guys are probably listening to this over the weekend. So on Monday, August 18th, we'll put that out here on the Big Sky Breakdown podcast series. But Jones said, hey, one thing that we realized last year is when you go on these deep playoff runs, it's hard to keep a team together. It's hard to keep everybody healthy, but it's also, guys are getting called from this guy and that guy. The portal is open for everybody in the country except for the FCS teams that are playing, right? So, I know that a lot of us want to be naive. We don't want to think about all the weird, nefarious stuff that's going on. But like when a guy like Scott Trey Humphrey transfers the day after the national championship, he's been getting talked to for 5 or 6 weeks.
Absolutely. I mean,
Jones implied that, and he's like, man, we learned that last year. But so that's what I think sort of the moniker of this year's team is, though. Hey, you guys want to talk about all these guys that left, whether it's graduation or transferred. We're all the guys that stayed. Let's go show these people what we can do. I think that's definitely the vibe of this year's team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Julius Davis hit it on the head when we spoke with him. He said that, there's no amount of money that can pay me to leave this school and go play for somebody else because this community special, the city special, this program special. And usually, it's the Montana guys that are always sticking around, right? It's through and through, born and bred Montana. They're not going to leave Montana. And a lot of the guys that maybe transfer in, end up transferring out, or guys that were recruited outside of the state, maybe they make a name for themselves, and all of a sudden, like Scott Trey Humphrey, they've been talked to for many months or weeks, and they're going to get a bag, essentially, get paid, get some money, and there's no disrespect towards that either. You got to do what you got to do that you feel is best for your life. But that one was just interesting to me because the Cats obviously played New Mexico week 1, and arguably, Bobcat Nation showed up big, more than the Lobos fan did. So it was like, how do you see that, that university and maybe want to go play there at the same time? But hey, to each their own. Everybody's got to take care of themselves. And there's a lot of guys that are still here with this Montana State team that want to prove that narrative wrong. Like, hey, we got some dogs here remaining. Don't forget about all these guys that are up and coming too. And there's a lot of names to list.
Big Sky Breakdown, proudly presented by the Bobcat Collective at Montana State. The Bobcat Collective is the NIL collective that serves Montana State University student athletes. The collective is partnered with Montana State to connect fans, alumni, businesses, and local nonprofits with Montana State student athletes. Opportunities through the collective allow student athletes to earn compensation while serving the greater Montana State University community. Sign up now for memberships and enjoy automatic entry into raffles for free tickets while supporting the bright minds at Montana State. They have multiple different membership tiers, and you can also be a one-time supporter, and you can also business partner or corporate supporter. Visit bobcatcollective.com for more. Tell us about Justin Lamson. I got eyes on Patrick Shane and Chance Wilson in spring ball. Everybody's kind of eager to know what the early returns are for the Stanford quarterback. So what have you seen out of him so far?
Well, we talk a lot, especially I already spoke about it with Grant, about eye test, right? And for those of you that don't know, it's just basically, if you look at a quarterback, do you think that he can be the quarterback of the future? Or do you think he can play the position at a high level? And I think Justin Lamson, whether it's his stature or the decision-making skills that he's made so far in fall camp, he's 100% passing the eye test. I mean, he's been running a lot with the first team offense. It's a competitive quarterback battle, but Lamson has looked very solid. He's obviously a little bit taller than Tommy was. I know people are going to try to compare him to Tommy. He's not Tommy. Yes, he can rush the football. Yes, he'll put his head down and gain that extra yard or get in the end zone. I don't know if you've seen some of his Stanford tape, but the guy broke the rushing record for quarterbacks at Stanford. I mean, he could rush the football. He's not afraid to have a little bit of contact, not afraid to try to get to that goal line. But he's done a great job. I think Vegan mentioned that he's not there yet, right? Obviously, he's not in mid-season form, but he's done such a great job over the spring and the summer to come in and really take full control of learning this offense and trying to be the number one guy, even though obviously it's still a quarterback competition. But even out there today, they're running a 2-minute drill, and he looked the part. He passes the eye test, and he could definitely be a strong quarterback for Montana State. Anybody
that's emerged or as separated themselves, or do you think it's still pretty heated competition right now?
You're talking about the quarterback competition?
Yeah, just in terms of the quarterbacks, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be releasing this, you said, on Monday. So, I mean, there's nothing been fully set in stone. And obviously, you want the other guys to keep pushing, and that's how they grow and get better as a quarterback and maybe be the quarterback of the future. But I think at this point, it's Lamson's job to lose. I think he's definitely, if I had to name a starter right now, I 100% would be Justin Lamson. And that's no knock on the other guys. Vegan said, himself, he said, they're just not there yet, right? They're just not quite there yet. They have made steps towards that growth that they wanted to see. It's also a new offense. I mean, you got new offensive coordinator, and for most people that haven't been able to see fall camp or haven't followed some of the stories, they're passing the ball a lot more. And I know we always talk about this every year is like, will they pass the ball more? And, they said they were last year, which they did pass the ball more. Tommy Mellott, the highest passer efficiency rating in the country, But this offense is a bit different. It's going to look a bit different. The primary focus is still rushing the football, obviously. But if I had to name a day one starter right now in Oregon, it's 100% Justin Lamson.
What else has stood out to you? Is there any other position groups or specific players that have really popped for you?
I mean, the biggest position of experience is the defensive line. I think they really, truly have the ability to be the best defensive line in the country. And I'm not saying that biasly just because I cover them. I know the ins and outs of these teams, and when you have 6 or 7 names deep, that could potentially start on the field, that's when you know your offensive line is so dominant. They're basically only losing Brody Grebe from last year. Kenny looks bigger and tougher. Paul, when Paul goes up against this offensive line, which is always one of the strongest in the country, he destroys them. I mean, and that's no knock on the offensive line. He's one of the best interior defensive linemen in the country, right? So strong, so built, so focused. Him and Kenny both have kind of been the leaders of that room. I said in the preseason, pre-fall camp that Zach Cruz might be a big-time breakout candidate for Montana State. Talon Marsh is another name. Obviously, Hunter Parsons on the outside, too. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And the defensive line group has definitely stood out for sure. But Caden Dowler in that defensive back room and Taden Gray, those two guys to me really stand out big time. They call him Big Play Tay for a reason, obviously, but he's looked really good in fall camp. Dowler being fully healthy is so big for this defense. I mean, we've seen such a small sample size of how big he could be and how much of an impact he can make on this defense. And health is obviously the biggest thing. And it's just so unfortunate he's missed the last couple of years, at least, a majority of the game. So having Caden back, he looks a lot bigger, faster, stronger, knows the defense through and throughout. And it's just, those two are definitely ones that stand out for sure.
Well, I just think that Paul Brott's on the same trajectory he was in high school, which was, solid contributor to then very good to then unbelievable. Like his senior year, he was crazy good. And I thought even in that state championship game against Sentinel, when Sentinel had 8 or 9 D1 guys, I thought Brott was the standout of the game. I thought he was wrecking the inside of the offensive line. And so that'd be cool to see if he takes the final step and becomes like a true All-American. The two other guys mentioned on the D line would be no surprise to me. Zach Cruz, the best high school player I've covered in the last 10 years. He's there.
Even over Adam Jones?
Man, see, Adam was busted up in high school, man. Like
Gotcha.
he was good. He was good. Zach Cruz, here's the best I could say Zach Cruz in high school. First of all, when he was a junior, he's the best tight end in the state. I actually think if Zach Cruz wanted to play the highest level he possibly could, he'd play tight end. I think he's George Kittle light. I think he could be like a 6'4", 245-pound Kittle, inline blocker and as slot tight end and all that.
Yeah. He's got a speed kind of defensive line body. Like he doesn't have that
Exactly.
big, thick defensive
Yeah,
line.
so that junior year, he basically wins that state championship game for him. He has 2 touchdowns. That's the first time he knocked out his tooth was that game. I think the story is that he swallowed it and he just didn't care. I know his mom is like appalled that he hasn't got.
That's a great story, though.
His toothpicks, and he's like, I don't know, man. I'm just not gonna do it. So anyway,
Shows up in media and smiles and doesn't even care that it's a big
he's
deal.
a tight end. So then that next spring in track, his junior track year, he was already one of the best hurdlers in the state. But they were in the mix to win their first boys state championship since the 60s. And so they said, hey, let's do as many events as you can. So Cruz hadn't done a whole bunch of events before divisionals, and he goes out and does it and qualifies in state in all 4 of them. And then he goes out at state and he wins the 110 hurdles. I think he wins the high jump. He won like 3 state championships and placed in 5. And he didn't even do these events. Like that's how big a competitor he is. Then the next summer, I see him at Marty Mornoweg's camp, and he's playing quarterback. And this dude's there with a bunch of dudes who are going to play college quarterback. And he's the best guy there. I asked Marty, I said, what do you think of this guy? I mean, I was like, I know he's going to be a D end in college because he's 6'4", 230 at the time.
Yeah.
And Marty's like, I would keep him at quarterback. I would see like what his ceiling is because I just think his competitiveness is so special. And then he leads Sentinel to the state championship as a quarterback. And then in the fall or in the winter, he decides I'm going to quit basketball and I'm going to go wrestle. And he gets second at the 215-pound weight class at wrestling. So you're like, okay, this dude is literally just doing this based on will. Like he's just doing this because he's so tough and he's so competitive. I hadn't seen a guy like that in so long. Like he's a true throwback. He reminds me of guys from like the 90s that would just do everything in Montana. Not any other reason besides they're just tough as hell. And so I'm not surprised he's about to have a breakout year. I think he's an incredible dude. And then Marsh, I mean, man, I remember I went to do, I can't remember why. I was in Helena and I went to Helena Capital practice and I wanted to interview the kid because I knew he was going to be really good. And you were in Helena at that time. I mean, he had freakish numbers. I mean, he's like 20 sacks 2 years in a row.
I mean, he broke his own sack record his
Right.
senior year that he set his junior
Right.
year.
This was between his junior. This is going into his senior year. For whatever reason, I was up there, so I go to the preseason practice, and this dude makes me wait for an interview for like 45 minutes because he's doing his own like D-line drills. I'm sitting here talking to Mahelish. I'm like, is this normal? He goes, oh yeah, he does this every single day. I'm like, what kind of 17-year-old kid is driven like this? Like he already has that in it. He already has that in him. So I'm not surprised by either of those two. I thought both those guys were awesome high school players, and if they have big breakouts, that won't surprise me one bit. How about
I think what you said, when you're talking about Paul Brott, taking those steps, I think Talon's kind of right on those steps as well, where it's like contributes a little bit, doesn't play a lot, and then now he's like contributing more, and then this year's the year where he can be a big time contributor on that interior defensive line.
Yeah, awesome Parr here on the Big Sky Breakdown. Probably presented in part by Jewelry Design Center. Jewelry Design Center can design anything your heart can possibly desire, anything your mind can possibly imagine. Check them out on Brook Street across from the Montana Club in Missoula. You can also shop online, jewelrydesigncenter.com. They also have locations in Spokane and Tri-Cities. Jewelry Design Center, your jeweler for life. Well, the other guy on offense I want to ask you about is Chris Long. I felt like on media day, a bunch of guys brought him up sort of unsolicitedly. Like we were asking open-ended questions, who stood out so far. And I thought multiple of those offensive guys said, hey, Chris Long, the transfer from Rutgers, has he flashed at all to you? And what can you tell us about him?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Everybody remembers Ty McCullough last year, right? And I think Chris is a little bit there's some similarities as far as body types. Very, very skinny, but so fast. I mean, super speed, great hands. He catches through traffic. It doesn't matter. I mean, if the ball's coming Chris's way, he's going to do everything in his power to get his hands on it. But I think it's the route running that really stands out to me in fall camp. It's so crisp. It's just so smooth, but also it's like, I don't want to play man coverage against that guy because my ankles are probably going to get broken. But I think he's going to be a big time asset. I mean, imagine the three speedy guys for Montana State at wide receiver: Taco Dowler, Chris Long, and Jacob Trimble, who was like fully healthy back now. I mean, everybody knows he flashed 2 years ago. Trimble did.
Yep.
And then kind of got hurt a little bit last year and kind of lost his position last year, but now he's fully back and integrated into the offense and seems to be one of the starters as well. So Chris Long could be a big time piece to this offense, but it's yet to be seen. How much are they going to pass the ball? Will he get the ball enough? But this is the farthest he's ever gone east, too, by the way. A fun fact when we talked to him. He loves Montana. He thinks it's beautiful. And he wanted to play for a team where he thinks he could win, but also contribute. And Montana State seems to be that fit for him. But yeah, he's been fun to watch. Let's put it that way. When they go, they've gone full pads only a couple times, like full, first string defense, first string offense, and he burns some of those DBs. No offense to the DBs there, but he's pretty electric, but fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, I know a lot of guys from New Jersey that make their way out to Montana State.
Right.
Play football. How about this?
Being in this industry since I was in college, one of the things I think we take the most pride in is Aspen Sound's been such a presence in Missoula for almost 40 years. The cool parts about our job is people always ask us, what do you do for a living? I sell fun, whether it's as simple as window tint all the way up to integrating a backup camera into a factory screen. I'm pretty excited about the options that we can present.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any town pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Right down the road. Pump it up. Oh, yeah.
How about the tight ends? That's a really intriguing group to me.
I was going to go there next.
I think they sort of have a transition there because they've had sort of like this hybrid beastly H type of guy forever. With Derek Snell was a 3-year starter, and then Rohan Jones last year. When I was looking at the tight end bodies, though, it seems like they have a lot more traditional type size guys. But then Rocky Lencioni is a really interesting one because he's not like any of them. He's tall, but also sort of like receiver body almost. But I thought he looked great during spring. who else has stood out? I know Rylan Schlepp is getting a bunch of run as well, and Hunter Province is obviously a guy that's played a lot of ball there already too. What have you seen out of that group?
Yeah, I mean, it's just those three are the top three for sure
Yeah.
throughout fall
So
camp. And
Lencioni is in the mix then.
Rocky has made the biggest jump by far. Coach Walsh, the tight end coach, Jordan Walsh, said that Lencioni's put on about 30 pounds of muscle. And I was actually just I was talking to him at practice this morning, and we always, you look the part. It's just a matter of learning the position. When you switch from wide receiver, mostly in high school, I mean, he was a big body wide receiver at Bozeman High, but you knew he was probably going to switch to tight end. It was just probably building the body towards that. And it starts with the blocking, right? I mean, that's the biggest thing you have to be a successful tight end in an offense like Montana State's. I'm not sure how much they're going to use the H-back style that they've been using the past couple of years, but Walsh said that those three will be rotating, and they're almost the same player in his opinion. You can put them in any sort of offense, and you're going to get the same amount of production. I mean, Schlepp obviously is the one that comes in with the most game experience. Caught a couple touchdowns last year. And Hunter Province is somebody who's really shined in the springtime the past couple of years as well. But those guys, if you look at them, they all kind of look very similar body-wise. Rocky has a little bit more of a receiver body, but they're just so big. I mean, they're just big targets out there. You expect Lamson, an incoming quarterback, to lean on his safety valves, tight ends. It's just those three are at the top. And then you got some other guys. Luke Smith could possibly see the field as well for Montana State for the tight ends this year. But they're going to be utilized a lot. I mean, I saw them in the 2-minute offense today, and they were heavily utilized, trying to move the ball down the field and in those short yardage situations, things like that. And who knows, Rocky can, take a post route to the house. I've seen it already in practice a couple times, but that's a big time group for this team. As rushing the football is the biggest thing for Montana State. So
I hope they're heavily involved. Brooks Nuanez always teases that we should change this podcast name to "Throw the Ball to the Damn Tight End." I think at this level, man. Well, I think at all levels, honestly. But I mean, you see it in the NFL too. I mean, who's the guy that can create the most mismatches? A tight end that can line up all over the formation, line up in the slot. I mean, this is Travis Kelce. This is so many different guys that have just revolutionized the game, honestly. So if they really do have three tight ends that they all can get involved, I think that's big time for their offense. I think that could make it a lot more simplistic on the quarterbacks.
yeah, I mean, look at like Rocky. You think of him, right? That with the receiver body. If you line him up against most linebackers one-on-one, I'll take Rocky probably every day of the week. He's
Totally.
probably going to beat them. And then if you got a faster corner that you want to put on him, he's much bigger than most corners, right? So you can kind of throw the ball up and he can go get it. It's a fascinating position and always has been such a big one, but we still haven't seen a trick play since, Snell threw that ball to Pickering many years ago, and I'm just wondering if we're ever going to get one of those again. Because you got to feed the tight ends. I played tight end. You got to feed the tight ends more.
Yeah, feed the tight ends for sure. Anybody who stood out at corner? I think that's an interesting group too because you got so many different options. I think that's where you probably have solace if you're vegan because you're thinking, okay, I don't know who's it going to be, but we got like 6 guys that are all sort of the same. So somebody's got to rise up and do it. Who has so far? Is anybody that's really stood out outside?
Yeah, it's Takari Carr. I mean, that's the easiest, quickest answer that I would say who has stood out the most. I think his break on the ball has improved so much on those flat routes, on those little 5-yard button hooks maybe that the quarterbacks are trying to check down to. He's had some big-time interceptions during fall camp, and he lets the quarterbacks know. I mean, every time they don't throw the ball his way, he's like, I can't say all the words, but basically throw it. I dare you. I dare you to throw it. You know what I'm saying? So Takari is somebody that comes in with obviously a little bit of experience. I think they actually have more safeties and more of that nickel position than they do at cornerback. That might be depth-wise, they might move some people from safety or nickel over to cornerback. But Jace McMillan is another name of a young guy who's come in and really made an impact. Vegan has spoken about him, just his smarts and how he, reads the offense very quickly. He's able to break on certain balls, and he's got good ball skills. When he's going up and challenging a wide receiver and things like that. But TC also, I love Takari Carr because he talks the most smack out of anyone on the team. I think And then we interviewed him on media day, and he was just like very calm, cool,
Very straightforward.
collected. Yeah, yeah. And then you see him at fall camp in full pads, and it's like this is a whole different guy. So I think there's a lot of we spoke with Taki Louis Kepa as well. I think this group is the group that takes the narrative of the question marks surrounding that room the most seriously. They hear it. They hear all the talk surrounding the DBs. What's the DB room going to look like? How are they going to replace Powdrill and Drew Polidor and the guys like that? And they know it. They know everybody's questioning them. And here's the thing: when you got one of the best defensive lines in the country, that helps your defensive backs big time because the quarterbacks aren't going to have a lot of time to throw the football. But TC, as they call him, Takari Carr, definitely standing out so far.
Meeting her stopped your world. The ring you give her should stop her heart.
Tina, will you marry me?
Not again! Don't worry, I'm gonna fix this because we want to be your jeweler on our beautiful diamond! Clear! Come back to me, Tina! Are you okay?
Well, last couple of things for you here. I think it's interesting that there is sort of this narrative that there is so many question marks because I just think that I covered this program now. This is year 15 for me covering the Cats and year 19 covering the Big Sky, and since Jeff Choate sort of turned the corner in 2018 and made the playoffs for the first time, Montana State has had really no dips in terms of their production recruiting wise. How do you replace Troy Anderson and Ty Okada, et cetera, et cetera?
Right.
Guys, and won the Big Sky the next year. They ran the table. So, I know that a lot of people are thinking, okay, Cats had this great senior class. These guys were around forever. They're the faces of the university. How do you replace Malott? How do you replace Greeby? How do you replace Ware? I just think it would be shocking if it all just fell off. They've just been recruiting at a very high level. So I think it's just a matter of these guys emerging and sort of taking their rightful place as the new guys in Bobcat football. Neil Daly's a guy we didn't even talk about, but I think he has a chance for a good year. All those defensive linemen, same thing.
Bryce as well.
Bryce Greeby for sure. I think Titan Fleischman's league, man. I think that guy, you look at him walking around, you're like, well, that's what guys look like.
He's
Marcus
a
Weir,
big dude.
Marcus Weir is a freak athlete, but you watch Marcus Weir walk around, you're like, oh, that's just an FCS offensive lineman. You watch Titan Fleischman walk around, you're like, that guy's going to the NFL. He doesn't look like everybody else. He's 300 pounds.
He doesn't look like an offensive line either.
Right. He's got flat stomach and he's just like
he's yoked.
He looks like Titan. That's a great name for him. But anyways, the point is I just think that it's hard to question him at this point. They've basically just reloaded for 8 years straight. They've won the Big Sky 2 out of the last 3 years. Vegan's, what is he, 45-9 or something crazy like that. I haven't lost a regular season home game since 2019. So I just think it's really hard to bet against the Cats, no matter who they lose, no matter how reputable the names are. I just think it's a matter of these guys sort of forging their own identity as a team, which it seems like they're already doing this fall camp.
Yeah, I've got a question for you really quick. If you were to set the over-under of wins at, let's say, 9, okay, would you be more surprised if it's over or under?
Oh, under for sure. We did
Okay,
over-under win totals. Yeah, we did over-under win totals for the Big Sky, and I set the Cats at 9.5, and I took the over.
I think it's 100% if they were to finish under, that would be more surprising.
Yeah, they'll lose at Oregon. I think Oregon's like the number 2 team in the country. So I don't really. Everybody is going to lose to Oregon. Everybody but Ohio State lost to Oregon last year. So
technically, nothing truly matters till that Big Sky conference starts. But that SDSU game week 2, that's going to be
but they haven't run. They haven't lost a Gold Rush since they expanded their stadium. My first year back in Montana in 2010. They're not going to lose a Gold Rush game. I just.
Okay, but 2010, right? So is this the toughest Gold Rush opponent?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I was going to say it's got to be, right?
I guess that's not true. They did lose one Gold Rush game. They lost to South Dakota State when Chris Murray was there by 2017, 2018, 2017, I think. That was right before Choate and those guys turned the corner. But regardless, they're just so good at home now. Not all wins are just check them off. They'll have to play really well to win at Northern Arizona. They'll have to play really well to beat UC Davis at home. And then,
and the big question.
The recent history is that the home team
can't win over there.
The home team wins the rivalry game by 5 touchdowns. That's just been the recent history since the pandemic. But I think if you got one loss on your record going into that game, you're sitting pretty good no matter what. And then if you can go, spring an upset. I'm saying it's an upset not because I think that the Grizz are better than the Cats. I just think that the home team is the favorite in that game.
Oh yeah,
You
100%.
know.
Especially when you go to Washington Grizzly Stadium, that would
Right.
be an upset no matter who it is. I
Yeah.
mean,
So, but
it's tough
yeah,
to beat them in that stadium.
I take the over. I set it at 9.5, and I'm taking the over. I think that's 10 or 11 wins this year for the Cats.
Yeah, I think it's 10 or 11 as well. I think it would definitely be more surprising if it's the under, but it's for the things that we talk about a lot and we give them so much credit for is the recruiting aspect of this. I mean, I did a package on a lot of, it was just the general viewpoint of how good the Cats are at recruiting and how they prioritize in-state recruiting and really just build these guys up. It may take 2 to 3, maybe even 4 years for some guys to really have their breakout. But when you have such a talented coaching staff, and mind you, how good is Vegan? We don't give him enough credit for replacing these coaches year in and year out, and guys that come in, they just immediately buy into the system. I mean, you got a guy in Matt Smith this year. He is a phenomenal offensive line coach. I will tell you that. I mean, he is bringing the juice, bringing the energy. But anyways, not to get sidetracked, Coach Vegan replaces these coaches year in and year out. They come in, they buy into the system, and they just keep building every single year. 21, it was a question of when they lost those guys. Then it was, 22 and 23, and now it's 24. How are they going to replace those guys? Well, here's the thing. First off, there's no replacing Tommy Millett. You're probably never going to get one of those again ever, period. And you can't replace the leadership that you did. It's just all about reloading, not rebuilding, right? And that's what they do year in and year out, and that's why I think they'll still be solid this year and have a chance at a Big Sky Conference title come the end of the season.
Well, and there is so much nuance and there's so much detail that we can analyze, but there also is a simplistic nature to this. The state of Montana has been producing great high school football players for a really long time, and particularly lately. And Montana State is getting almost all those guys, and I mean, we're talking. I mean, almost every guy we just talked about: Kenneth Hyden, Zach Cruz, Paul Brott, Neil Daly, Bryce Grebe,
Adam Jones,
Caden Deller. On down the line.
Taco, yeah.
I know Titan Fleiss is from Pocatello, but that's basically Montana, right? But I mean, you got Everett Carr and Burke Mastel, and all those tight ends are they're not even just from Montana,
Rocky, yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
So that's where they've just been so good, is getting the right guys from the state of Montana, and then, like you said, developing them and turning them into big time players. It's awesome, Parr, here on the Big Sky Breakdown. Probably presented by the Bobcat Collective. You want to help usher Montana State into the new age of college athletics, donate to their NIL collective by visiting bobcatcollective.com. We only got about 2 minutes. Anything else to add before we get you out of here?
I will not be covering the Cats.
You're leaving. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that or not. Congratulations.
Yeah, we can talk about it. Yeah, I mean,
Austin
it's public.
Sent to Boise. We're sad to lose him, but proud of you, man. I think that's awesome for you and your family.
I really appreciate it. Nobody knows the location yet, so we could just break it on here. I'm pretty sure you just said that, but that's
right.
Okay.
Yeah, Austin's leaving. He's going somewhere. It's kind of close to Montana.
Yeah, it's a little south. Don't worry about it. If you know anything about Brandon Sullivan, he's down there too. But no, it's a great opportunity. I just if you didn't see my Twitter post, it was hard to write. Kind of like a goodbye to the state of Montana. Like I'm fresh out of school. I came here in Helena, just a kid with a dream of trying to break into this industry. And I've grown so much in the 3 years that I've been here. And I can't thank the people enough of this state, but also guys like you that have been so important to my growth, but also just taking me in and being like, yeah, I got you. Here's this, how you do this, how you do certain things, learning from all you guys, the coaches, the players, everybody in between. It's just been it's been an incredible ride is how I described it. And if you want to read the full thing, it's on my Twitter. Somebody did post, and what is it? TDFR2 or TLDR, whatever, too long didn't read. Yeah. I'm like, look, it's my goodbye 3 years. Come on now, give me some credit here. Don't read it then. It's like 2-minute read. It's not that big of a deal. But anyway, couldn't be more excited for the next opportunity, but also sad because Helena and Bozeman, Montana, and people like you always have a special place in my heart, man. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for being here today, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.